Hello, guys. This is CFAMO. Welcome to my YouTube channel. And if this is your first time of visiting my channel, please feel free to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And of course, don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you get notifications whenever I drop a video. Now, this video is about a simple technical analysis on rabbit farm. So I asked ChatGPT what how many rabbits I'll have at the end of the year if I start with 1,000 rabbits. And guess what? The answer ChatGPT gave me. Let me show you guys. Okay, here it is. I said, how many rabbits will I produce at the end of a year if I start with 1,000 female and each produce an average of 5 kids? Now consider the fact that the kids will grow and give birth within the same year. Now look at the answer ChatGPT gave me. Now, to calculate the total number of rabbits produced at the end of the year, we need to take into account the reproductive cycle of rabbits. On average, rabbits have a gestation period of about 31 days and they can breed again shortly after giving birth. Assuming all the female rabbits start breeding immediately and continue to do so throughout the year, we can estimate the number of offsprings produced at each generation. In the first generation, you have 1,000 female rabbits. Each female rabbit produces an average of 5 kids. So the total number of kids in the first generation is 1,000 females times 5 kids, which equals 5,000 kids. Okay, now that's obviously the first month. Now, at the end of the first generation, you have 5,000 kids. However, not all of them will be able to produce immediately. We need to consider the time it takes for the kids to grow and reach reproductive age. So let's assume it takes about 6 months for the kids to mature and become capable of reproducing. This means that the kids born in the first generation will be able to reproduce in the second generation. Now, in the second generation, you have 5,000 kids from the first generation. Now, each kid will produce an average of 5 kids, just like their mothers did. So the total number of kids in second generation is 5,000 kids times 5 kids. That is 25,000 kids. Now, at the end of the second generation, you have 25,000 kids. Similarly, we'll assume it takes 6 months for these kids to mature and become capable of reproducing. Now, continue this process for the entire year. We can estimate the number of kids produced in subsequent generations. Now, generation 3, you have 25,000 kids times 5 kids. That give you 125,000 kids. Now, the fourth generation, where you now have the 125,000 kids, times 5 kids give you 625,000 kids. Amazing. Now, the fifth generation, where you have the 625,000 kids times 5 kids again, it gives you 3,125,000 kids. Amazing. Now, in generation, all the way to generation 12, well, that number is amazing. It just is crazy. Anyway, now that this calculation that ChatGPT gave me doesn't include the fact that the first generation that produced these other generations that are giving you more kids are also still being bred and giving you 5,000 kids plus these numbers that follow in the coming generation. So if you're starting a rabbitry with 1,000 rabbits, man, the problem you're going to have is not um, about how much your rabbits can produce. It will be a problem of space because look at the numbers, how fast they're growing. That means you need to create a lot, like a lot and lots and lots of cages. You need to have a big expanse of land so that you can keep these cages around. It's amazing. It's amazing. This just shows that rabbitry is really, really profitable if you do it the right way and you start with the right number. In fact, what am I saying, right number? There is no right number to start. It depends on how much you want to produce. So it depends on you. But first of all, what I'd advise you to do as a beginner is to start with a small number. Understand how rabbit life goes, understand how you can take care of them, at least see how two of your does can, how you can take care of two does when they produce, how well you can take care of the kids to maturity. You see how well you do with this first two does, and then you can gradually increase. It's amazing how fast you can grow with rabbits. So you shouldn't start with a large number, especially if you are a beginner. Now, the conclusion of what ChatGPT said is, please note that these calculations assume ideal conditions without accounting for mortality rates, constraints on resources, or other factors that may affect the population growth. It is a simplified model to estimate the potential number of rabbits produced based on the given parameters. So here you have it. It's amazing what you can actually achieve with rabbitry. Now, I'm encouraging young people who are passionate about taking care of animals. If you are having issues with getting a job and you have a space in your backyard, you have a space you can take advantage of, rabbitry is something you can get into. You may start off without necessarily having a cage, because cage these days would cost you some money, at least if you want to create like a six, so that's a 6 rooms. I created a 9 rooms cage, which is a three-decker. Now that cost me about 70,000 naira to put together, and I didn't even have to pay anybody. I had to buy the materials myself, bought the equipment to nail it together and all of that, did all of that all by myself. And that's how I'm able to get to that minimum amount. But it's not so expensive. If you're thinking about the expenses of creating a cage, you might want to consider having, um, not necessarily, if you have a space that you don't have the money to start with a cage, you can have your rabbits in a small space and make sure you're cleaning that place as often as possible, because one of the things that um, brings risks into rabbit farming is cleanliness. Once you can keep the environment clean for your rabbits, you've cut out 75% of the troubles you'll be having in a rabbitry. So make sure that if you're going to be starting, the first thing you have in your mind is to ensure that your environment is clean. The environment you're keeping those rabbits is clean, if possible, at all times. That would help you grow, cut down on the diseases that your rabbits can contact. Because when they interact with feces and dirt, this thing can affect their body and sometimes, even cause death. And you don't want that. All you want is increased numbers, growth. And the one way to cut down on death in rabbitry is to ensure that you're taking care of your rabbits in the best way possible. And don't forget, give them the right foods. Rabbits have sensitive digestive system. You want to ensure that you have um, a high amount of fiber in their feed at all times. In fact, that's hay. Hay gives them a lot of fiber. So make sure that you incorporate a lot of fiber into their feed so it will help their digestive system. And include pellets if you want your rabbits to grow fast. Of course, it's not necessary that it must be pellets. If you don't have money for pellets, there are substitute feeds that you can give your rabbits. There are greens, there are different kind of plants rabbits eat. Think about it, in the wild, they don't eat pellets. They only feed on the grasses, the leaves, the different types of things that they find in the wild. So hey, you can incorporate several kinds of greens out there and get your rabbits going. All right. So if you enjoyed this video, if you learned something from this video, please do well to like this video, subscribe to this channel, give me a thumbs up. Come on now. Okay. All right. Until next time, take care. And this is Sifamo. Cheese.